Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screen and LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. FOMO's gone, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Time in hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rights. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. But I'll reload, I play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screen and LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out.
Good morning, guys. Hope you're having an awesome weekend. It's the start of a new week. Oh, and it's still cold here in Canada. Let's dive into it. We got Coma in here. What's up, man? We got Offshore Miner, Mikey, M. Miller. What's up? Wayne, Noah again. Right on. Okay, let's jump into it. So we got Bitcoin now dancing on top of our 250-day previous value area high. Let's get rid of some of this noise. These were first screenshots for the community here. And we are trying to find support off of it as we speak with this range-bound price action. And so far, we've got an internal bullish change of character during this moment when we had a candle close above this neckline. Man, I'm just typing all the wrong things right now. Let's get this paintbrush tool. So right here, we got our bullish internal change of character. If we go even more internal to that, it looks like we might have got a bounce off of our golden pocket reaction. So after the change of character, if you don't like the risk to reward ratio when trying to get to a certain target, you could be patient and wait for a retracement. And the Fibonacci tool is helpful for that. So you can pull from the low to the unclaimed high and then you can get yourself an established level to prepare for a limit order for buy. So this would have been a really good scenario for that kind of situation. But of course, you'd have opposing barriers. As soon as you jumped in on something like this, we have our VWAP, we got our downtrending momentum, and we got our orb high. So this would be the moment where you'd have to babysit your trade to prepare for continuation. But if you missed the long opportunity, then I wouldn't be too worried about it, because there's definitely short opportunities still in mind up here, right? Same reason as to why we pulled this fib here. Well, we had a bearish SFP up here on the hourly, defining a target of like this low for like the 15-minute structure. If you go by based on hourly structure, it's even lower than that. But you got to take it one stage at a time. We're currently at our first barrier for that SFP target, and that it's the local valley area low and the previous macro valley area high. So we could come back up to return to our local valley area high, which is currently at 70,900. We have some confluences that are stacking there. We got our 618 and a 15-minute order block that slightly front runs that valley area high. So what I would recommend doing if you're looking for a short up here, or a spot sell to prepare for a rebuy, I'll look for a opposing bearish change of character, like similar to what we're seeing here, but upside down, right? So if we get something like that, like at least a 5-minute time frame, then you can prepare for a short and then target the 250-day valley area high again in hopes that we break it if you're in a short for a continuation with the break structure with acceptance back inside the 250-day previous valley area high and a confirmation of leaving the local valley area right here. This valley area that we have pulled up here was pulled because we built a form of demand down below, right here. We had this impulse move up, base of structure, impulse move up. We held it so far as support. We mitigated about half that demand. So we can anticipate that to act as a form of support again. But if you're in a short, of course, you're going to hope for continuation structure, not reversal structure. So if you get that reversal structure, then you just take some profits and get out and look for the next setup. Now, the longer we consolidate here, the more liquidity is going to stack above and below this valley area. And then the stacked amount of liquidity is going to help define whether or not we're more likely going to have a continuation or come back down. I'm actually kind of hopeful that we come down one more time, because I'm not really a knife catcher. So I'd rather have some, structure to define a safe entry for more of a macro-based long. I am preparing for an inverse perpetual long, so I'll be using my Bitcoin as collateral for a trade rather than a stable coin like USDT as collateral. And that way, I earn more of the asset that I trade, right? You earn more Bitcoin that way. And mathematically, you make more money doing inverse perpetual longs. And mathematically, you make more money doing regular stablecoin shorts. Because the collateral goes up in value, whereas stablecoins are more just about keeping everything stable. Keeping your balance the same, whether it goes up or down when you use it as collateral. So it's a lot more beginner friendly just to stick to stables. But yeah, to zoom out a little bit on the daily, our daily key level is still way up here at 97,000. I was hopeful for the second day here to be a green candle so we can have that proper 2 consecutive candle pullback to define this as a potential unclaimed high if we got the lower low taken. A strong high if we get the lower low taken, so that way we can prepare for that larger time frame bullish change of character. So it depends on how long we stay down here for. We could still get it. We could have that evolved strong high come from here to a lower level, but it's just going to be just based on the range that we have so far, or the previous range that we had, it could get a little bit awkward. So we'll see what happens. But right now, yeah, we're still bearish on the daily. We're still bearish on the 4 hour. 4 hour and 6 hour key levels at 79,388. And this is a big supply zone. So if we come up here, let's say we range here and then we break to the upside, this is still going to be a big area of interest to prepare for a rejection, right? But if this breaks and we get like a good healthy pullback, we can start using fibs from the low to that high to define a potential retracement zone and for like a stronger continuation back up. And then start targeting the daily unclaimed high in that kind of moment. But we'll see what happens. We're got a lot more structure to form. I'd rather us like based on the current posture and the current confluences, I'm expecting for us to likely locally come back up, but more macro come back down and maybe paint us like a head and shoulders structure to bring us back down to our unclaimed low way down here at 59,900. But yeah, short term, yeah, it looking like it's trying to set up to be like a short term move up. But yeah, with all the opposing stack confluences here, you'd prepare for your exit plan around like 70,900. Maybe we come up higher and sweep the high for another SFP play like we had here. But yeah, we're hoping for a good structure here to define a good short. And you guys will see the signal in the community very shortly afterwards. But this is where I'm preparing for today. I don't know where my stop loss suggestion is going to be. It's all based on structure. So whatever our internal strong high is, or if we take this high and sweep it, and we just take the SFP wick level for our stop loss guard, we'll see. But yeah. So short term, looking bullish, but I'm preparing for more of a, I like preparing for the short because I think it's going to have more follow through than the long, right? If we have more follow through, and we prepare at our key levels where we normally want to exit a trade based on our local valley area and our previous valley area high and our orb low, then if we get that break, then the confluences will be pretty transparent, telling us that we're going to have that continuation. And then the only key levels that I have to worry about along the way would be this. We have two forms of orb blocks here. We got a 15-minute orb block and we got an hourly orb block inside of this as a cluster. If we go to the we're on the 15-minute time frame, so we'll dissect where that one is. It is right here. So we have our impulse candle here. And this is it right here. So this is the 15-minute order block that we haven't mitigated. We're awfully close. We front run it a little bit. So basically this little demand kind of held us up. So we create a front run to that order block, but likely induced liquidity, which we'll check together during this live and see if there's liquidity stacked down below that area, which will act like a magnet to the price action eventually for us to come take it. And then our hourly structure, going to the hourly time frame. It's right here. We have this impulse candle up. And this is our previous candle to define the hourly change character. So the ceiling of this structure is the 15-minute order block, and the floor is the hourly. So looking at that form of confluence, we got to prepare for a potential reversal here, especially if there's liquidity resting down here. That liquidity can act as fuel to help bring us back up a bit. So you have to watch that as an opposing threat. Doesn't mean we can't see it, continue to go down, but we have to just be mindful of that zone, set alerts near that zone. And a good easy way to set an alert near that zone is just to get your horizontal array, get your magnet tool, cling it to this wick level low. So you get alerted when price action crosses this. So you get your alert. They changed the format of how to set an alert, and actually I find it a lot more beginner friendly. So you get your trigger, and you just click on only once, and then you're set. Go to your notifications, make sure you have the sound that you want to hear. I like doing different sounds for different events, so you know exactly what kind of event's going on when you hear the sound from your computer, so you're not staring at your screen all day. Click on create, and you're good to go. So now I'll be notified when we potentially sweep this low or just cross this low in general. Okay. Now let's look at the liquidation heat maps here. Check out the chat here. We got Coma. What's up, man? Check member trade ideas. Okay, I'll take a look. Let's see. Close short. Nice. Okay. Oh, great job, man. So you took the SFP. Yeah, in a critical moment. So you got, oh dude, yeah, you got in literally what we were just talking about at the beginning of this live. So you got the you caught the golden pocket after the bullish change of character, it retraced down to your zone, and now we're kind of fighting that level. So this is kind of an area. I'm not sure if you took any profits yet, but yeah, that's definitely an area we want to be careful to watch. Your chart looks a lot like mine. It's awesome. So what you're kind of hoping for right now, man, is just you'd watch things on lower time frames. We're testing it again. We're still getting beaten by that downtrending momentum and the VWAP. So I'd maybe take some off the table, stop loss to break even, and then see if we get to the value area high there. Now your stop loss could be, I would say it'd be a little bit below break even. You're likely using this as your stop loss, right? Looks great. Yeah, you are. Okay, perfect. Great job, man. Getting a whole bunch of little Kyles in the community. It's kind of nice having a whole bunch of eyeballs that looked at the market the same way that you do. Who we have in the chat? We got Sterling. How you doing, man? We got Overcome, Jillian. She's always in the community telling us when Asian session starts. It's pretty helpful. Yeah. Mikey, how you doing, bro? Evelyn. Yep, you closed half already. Just a little under the V whoop. Nice. Stop loss breaking. All right, cool. Right on. Yeah, you're pretty much already there, man. I feel like you're at the point. All you got to make sure you have is consistency on your risk management, and I feel like you're set. Okay. Yeah. So basically, we're waiting on seeing how we win, whether we win or lose against this VWAP battle. If we take the low, then we're likely just going to have continuations from here. So this is the low I'm talking about. So breaking this, retesting the value area high of the 250-day previous range. And then we have our value area low that's flush with that for this range that we've been in for about 3 days now. A lower low close. This is a trend-based rule, right? So we'll get a continuation. And then, like I said before, we're preparing for opposing confluences that could induce a reversal here. And then, but if we don't, maybe we'll get continuations all the way down. Watching the 250-day previous point of control at 63K. At the point of control or below, this is a great spot to accumulate Bitcoin. Not financial advice, but that's definitely what I'll be doing, preparing for accumulation in this area. It's a great spot to just buy Bitcoin in general for a long-term hold. I'm thinking a year or half a year plus for a hold. Doesn't mean we can't go lower, but the on-chain metrics are suggesting that we're pretty much there. I gotta do some on-chain analysis today still, but you guys will get a post from me today about that. I just want to see how things have adapted since we've been ranging here for 3 days. Let's go back to let's go to liquidity heat maps here. So this is our 24-hour. Looks like most liquidity is above us based on the break of structure order flow here. So we have liquidity resting right above this high, and that's where our 15-minute order block is, and the ceiling of that 15-minute order block is the floor of this 618, the golden pocket zone. So if we come up here, now we have liquidity on our side, suggesting that we could also get a reversal. So if that liquidity is used as exit liquidity, then it can help drive the price down. Let's zoom out. We could use a 3-day because we're in a 3-day range. Oh yeah, they make you log in now. That's just brutal. Of course they'll capitalize on this stuff right now. Okay. Well, we had to create an account. I don't want to create it while we're in a live together, but that's just brutal. So I'll get that done as soon as I'm done this live, guys. So going forward, I can share these higher time frame liquidity pools. But you can based on like order flow logic, whenever you see a break of structure, whether it be internally or externally, you can assume liquidity, right? You can assume it in a form of stop losses. You can assume it in a form of liquidations, right? So that's why also like value area highs are really important, or value areas are really important to watch, because they can help gauge an understanding of where liquidity is likely resting, or just getting a good understanding of market structure. Whenever you see a break of structure, some people take action on those kind of situations, that kind of structure. So they'll put their stop losses below the strong low or strong high of that structure. So here, stop losses, probably liquidity. Here, liquidity, stop losses. Here, liquidity and stop losses. Right, and now here too. And we see that internally, that we're coming up, there's liquidity. We did see on the 24-hour there is liquidity resting here, but this would be a key level to watch. This would be a key level to watch, right? And those are all zones that you can prepare for a reversal off of. You just got to wait for the reaction and the opposing structure to define the entry, so you can have a higher confidence, higher probability setup, and just be patient. Don't just jump in because we're at the level. Jump in when we're at the level and you see the reaction, so that way you can get that consistency and have that higher probability move. All right, almost there. We're almost getting above that VWAP. I did jump into a short up here after we had the... Actually, I took 2 shorts. I took one short here after this bearish change of character. I held it over the weekend, so too long. I should have gotten out when I saw this opposing double bottom, this ascending double bottom. But I was a little bit more optimistic that it would go down further. And yeah, so I held it till at the point where I got stopped out. I really, really shouldn't have. And then I took a second short after this SFP, and I just recently closed it. I just took a look. Yeah, I took a little screenshot of the close, but yeah, closed it because of this opposing reaction. So I basically broke even a little. I basically made $10 in profit. So basically broke even after losing and then winning here. I lost. So I'm trading right now with I started over with a $5,000 account. So I risked to lose. It was at like 6,300, but I still risked to lose about $50. And then so I lost 50 here. Then I gained like 60 during this moment. So not much. Shouldn't have been trading during the weekend anyways, if I'm being honest. All right, we're almost there, guys. We just got to get that higher high taken internally here. If we get a close above this, then we'll have the confluence of breaking out of past the VWAP, getting past the 15-minute orb, and getting the internal break of structure. All right, so we just need to close above this level. And then we would more likely get that continuation to our value area high, and then we would prepare for that reversal. So the pathing would look something like this. If we get our tool marked here. And here we go. And then we have our 15-minute orb block from this low level here. But I'm hopeful that we get a little bit beyond that, just mitigate it, and just get to the value area high. Because the further up we are in the value area, and we sweep those levels, the better risk to reward ratio you will have when you're targeting the value area low again. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. That's what I'm preparing for. we can start looking at other assets. Let's take a peek at Ethereum. Oh man, the alarm scared the crap out of me. All right. Okay, so Ethereum, we were looking at it last. We had this downtrending momentum. We were preparing for an opposing reaction at this little red triangle zone, but we ended up breaking past it and then ended up kind of creating a similar structure to Bitcoin, where we had this break of structure demand zone form right here. Let's get this. There we go. And let's get this deleted now too. This is the supply zone that we fully mitigated. Looks like we got like a double SFP kind of scenario. We swept this high here. Create a 30-minute order block. This white line represents a psychological level, or no, sorry, a historical level of resistance and support. If we zoom out on the daily, it's quite clear, right? So this is back from April 2021 when we first saw active support. Support, resistance, resistance, support and resistance, support, right? And then we're kind of fighting against it right now again. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, right now, the daily structure looks like we had a doji reaction on the previous day. And right now we're kind of like seeing that kind of roll over. But locally, we can help use the lower time frames to help define like how that rollover might occur, right? So if we grab a a fixed range volume profile from the start of this candle here, so the back side of this value area. If we mitigated this, then we would include that in our poll, but we didn't. We're breaking internal downtrending momentum. It's a little more broad. So we're kind of testing that zone right now. So Ethereum right now, it's got a little bit of relative strength in terms of confluence. We're above the point of control. We're above the VWAP. Whereas Bitcoin is still below its VWAP. And kind of like resting around its point of control. Sorry about the alarm. Every time I'm going to rotate to a chart, you're going to hear an alarm, so just prepare mentally for that. Because it has like a backlog of alerts. So yeah, we just mitigated a 15-minute order block. So we're trying to stabilize off of this point of control, and we'll see if we get that rotation up to its value area high. Then here we can prepare for like our 30-minute order block confluence. It's a pretty steep one, right? Delete this orange line, get that out of our face. Change the opacity of this one too. Mark our wick level highs in case we get an SFP reaction to prepare for. Use your magnet tool. All right, and then we're looking for price action come up. Like, this is not an opportunity, in my opinion, to jump in on a long if you're not already in on one. So it's just about waiting for the short. Right, so you want to see price action come up, just exactly how it's drawn, basically. Come up, get the higher high, and then take the low, so you can have an internal bearish change of character. It'll be internal to this high and this low, unless we sweep that high. If we sweep that high, then it's no longer going to be internal structure, and that liquidity that's likely resting above here in the form of stop losses and liquidations can be used as fuel to help drive the price down. If we have that higher high taken, then you're likely going to have better R&R and better structure. So it's either here, right, at the value high and getting acceptance into that value area with the confluence of that bearish change of character, or the SFP sweep. If you like to take SFP trades like this one here, And then you want to look for that continuation posture, right? When you have those breaks of structure, continuations, then you start targeting the value area low, evolving your SFP target. Right, so that's what I'll be looking for with Bitcoin, just kind of like, sorry, Ethereum. If I were going to take Ethereum trade setup, that's what I'll be looking for. But Bitcoin's kind of the dictator right now. It's controlling a lot of the Ethereum's price action, and Ethereum's controlling a lot of layer 2s. Okay, and then we have, I got a phone call. Sorry, guys. I'll wait until after. Let's go to H-bar. It's on my screen here. So it looks like last time we were looking at H-bar, we were looking at these two levels and this level here. So all of our levels were honored for sweeps. So we had that 536-day previous value area high swept. Previous low. Oops, undo that. Same with our local structure. Preparing for a rejection off of this supply right here. And we had the confluence of an SFP and tapping into that supply zone. So that's been really great for a short. If you held it, you would have been fine. You'd still be fine, but just be a little caught. It looks like we're trying to coil up into a squeeze. We have an hourly order block in our face. So we can delete this now. We don't need this anymore. So we should establish our new levels that we should watch. So this level here comes with the confluence of an hourly order block. So this is the ceiling of an hourly order block here. Just mark it like this. Send it back. And we'd, oop, my bad. Oh man, there we go. Bruh. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just having a moment. 1 hour order block. Okay. We're gonna pull the supply to mitigation here. Same kind of story. We're looking for sweeps or opposing bearish changes of character at $9. No, sorry, not $9. At 0.9840. So just above the 9-cent level. You can mark your wick level high. It's at 0.09825. If you trade H-bar, it's completely up to you guys. But this is it's a decent asset to trade. It follows market structure really well. If you're looking for new assets to find good confluence on, we have a bullish aura block here. On the hourly, and we just created one too 2 hours ago in this zone. So this is a previous valley area data from here to here where we lost our valley area low. We dipped down below it. Then we got acceptance back inside of it. So we could pull this as an entire valley area after we got that acceptance. You can see the most, so the valley area tells you the story where most of the volume, most of the interest is, right? And this represents 70% of that interest. So here's where most of your setups or alignments are going to occur. So when we're looking for shorts, we look for the top side of the valley area. When we're looking for longs, we're looking at the bottom side of the valley area. Sometimes the valley area low will just act as a form of support. It's awkward, but you can trade it internally to the valley area high. I prefer positioning below or above it, a slight deviation, because you tend to get better R&R, and then you can use the acceptance into the valley area as confluence. Right? And that acceptance comes from a break of structure or a change of character leading into it. So this would have good confluence. This would have great confluence for longs and for shorts. We have our hourly order block here, hourly order block here, our wick level highs for liquidity sweeps, our higher time frame supply, and we have a large demand zone of interest down here. If we zoom out on the macro, we do not want to break below this. And if we break below this, then it's kind of doom and gloom. If we get it close below that wick level, and then we see that valley area high act as a form of resistance with the break of structure, we could see a rotation down to as low as 5 cents for each bar. That'd just be a nightmare for any holders. But it'd be if you're an accumulator and you're trying to accumulate, then that'd be kind of like the dream scenario. So it depends on which light you look at it. All right, so that's H bar. Let me just adjust this. For anyone who uses my charts, we've got hourly or block. And we'll switch it to the 15-minute time frame. Now draw the pathing. So here, or even better, here. And then we have this area for longs. Does look like it's trying to paint the picture of like the Wyckoff model, the inverse head and shoulders. So when this supply is fully mitigated, and we use this value area as support, then we're off to the races, back up. All right, that's H bar. We went over Ethereum, went over H bar, went over Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still losing that battle against the VWAP. In order for us to get that classification that we won the battle, we need to get it close above this high still. What do we got for the chat? You guys want to look at any specific assets? How do you get this line for psychological level lines? Oh, psychological levels are actually one of the easiest things to learn in trading is rounded numbers, right? So rounded numbers, like if you think about Ethereum's price action, rounded numbers would be like $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $2,500, $3,000, where people tend to type their limit orders for exits, especially like beginner level investors. They just type in rounded numbers. So you'll find that in the order books, most of the sell orders occur at rounded numbers. People just type in really quickly. So yeah, that's what, just think of it that way. It's just a psychological key level. And like when you see that it's been respected in the past, then that makes it even have more weighted value. So Ethereum tends to respect a lot of like psychological levels. And when you're trading an asset that's in price discovery that has never been in before ever, like let's say for example like a new all-time high, then psychological levels become way more important. And understanding like fib, extension, exhaustion points. So zooming out, if you were to look at like Bitcoin getting past 125K, you'd be looking at psychological levels like 130K, 135, 140, 150 would be a huge one. It tends to have more weighted strength historically when things are rounded by fives too. Like 150,000 or 250,000 and stuff like that. So that's basically the whole lesson on psychological levels. there's not very much more to it. But there's also looking at previous lows like this. That's a form of psychological level, but it has more weighted value than just a rounded number because there actually would be evidence of potential like buyers there that could be holding. So when we come up to retest it, those buyers might escape at break even. Most traders that are kind of like more inexperienced tend to get out at break even the moment that they're in a profit, right? They'll get out the moment they're in profit, but they'll hold their losses for a long time. Okay, Bitcoin, yeah, kind of getting that double top kind of vibes right now against the VWAP, momentum, orb. Kind of getting, we'll see if we coil up, maintain this momentum because we got, it's hard to see, but we could draw momentum here. Think of this as like the internal pace of the buyers, and we're kind of getting squeezed between two decisions, like the pace of the sellers and the pace of the buyers. So we're getting past that apex point now. It looks like we're going to break it to the downside. We'll see. This candle's not closed yet. We got a minute left on it. So this could easily wick back up. Let's look at the chat. We saw some requests for some assets. Basic attention token. Yeah, let's do it. We have a bat chart. Last time we looked at it was January 30th. Okay, and this was our plan. We were looking at this to potentially hold based on previous momentum. We had this was holding us up since June 2025 and we lost it. So we can delete that. But this is a great opportunity. If we zoom out on basic attention token, like we just mitigated a daily order block. That's where this green box zone came from. And this value area that we're in that we just left, and then we kind of deviated below it and we swept these previous lows, is over 1,000 days old. Right? It's 1,170 days old from the start of this pull to the end of this pull. We're kind of like ranging in between this. So this is an area where you definitely want to prepare for reversals. And if we get that reversal structure, then we can get awesomely an early entry before acceptance into that value area. So let's delete this now. Don't need this anymore. We can delete this now too. This has been mitigated. So we can look at our local structure to help define potential entries if we were return back down. It's giving me that inverse head and shoulders kind of vibe. An awkward left shoulder formed as a descending regression trend. Broke to the downside. And we're kind of like coming up to take this liquidity here. And we'll see if that might potentially drive us back down or not. Same kind of structure as H bar actually. So this is like a local valley area. We could pull a order block here. And we get this little guy here. I'll do a full wraparound of this, not just the hourly order block, because it's like a small form of demand. We just have to, it's good to notate inside of your block zones like this. Like if you notice anything that's unique about it, for example, like an order block like this. So you can type into it just by double clicking, and you could just type floor, or so equilibrium point would be the 1 hour order block. So you know there's stacked confluences there. The equilibrium point is just, think of it like the center point of anything that you might have drawn, right? For example, this is a value area high, value area low. Equilibrium point would be like the 50% level, roughly around here, which is pretty flush with that order block. I mean the point of control. So right now you statistically would prepare for shorts based on its value area here. You can watch these wick level highs. But I'll show you a structure you'd want to watch out for that would tell you that we're likely to get a continuation. And it's a lot like what you're seeing like right here. But if you would want to see it up here. So if you got a break, grab liquidity, pull back, and then higher high, that's a confirmation that we're leaving a value area. And we could be rotating back up to the next one or previous one. But if you instead see maybe a sweep or a bearish flip or a bearish change of character, then we could be coming right back down to this value area low. We'll be mindful of that point of control along the way. We have supply that is flush with that previous value area low, like that 1,170 day one right here, sorry. So when we get up there, it's likely going to cause a problem for the first time around. Especially if we run up aggressively. If we run up aggressively, then it's going to definitely induce a pullback when we hit this area right here. So we have that value area low confluence, supply confluence that could initially act as resistance. But the objective, your goal, is to see acceptance into it. There we go. So 2 pathings that I draw for you. Sweeps off these highs. Maybe get an SFP and return down, or bearish change of character and come down, prepare for longs, or deviation of this value area low at this order block, or even better down below. Depending on where the established high is, you can pull a fib from this low to that high and see if it comes with confluence. So right now I have mine like customized for 618 being the ceiling and the 786 being the floor. So depending where that established high is, you could see a golden pocket retest confluence with this order block for a good long as well. And if we get up here, you definitely want to prepare for your head being hit. But this is definitely a spot where you expect people to accumulate basic attention token every single time for the past 1,170 days that we've gotten below this value area. It has given you the best opportunities before returning to the value area high, right? We got this breach moment here, 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 and now we're here again. So you gotta shake off the fear a bit, and then once you get that, once you accumulate, you can hold. Like I recommend spots, because if you try doing this with futures, you're gonna get eaten alive by fees, especially with altcoins. The fees tend to be a lot higher with funding rate fees, and you get hit by those fees like depending on the exchange, every like 8 hours, sometimes every 12 hours, sometimes every 24 hours, and the average is every 8 on each exchange. So just prepare mentally for that. If you're going to be doing a futures trade, you can be pretty expensive to hold your trade. And the value of from the value area low to the value area high is 77%. So you don't really need leverage, right? And try not to get rich quick in this space, because it will destroy you if you do. Get steady, calm. Just take what the market gives you. Okay, so that's basic attention token. I hope that helps you out, guys. But this is definitely a buy zone. This is where people would be accumulating. And the structure is defying that evidence right now. Bitcoin. Yes, Bitcoin's still getting coiled up here. We're at the, I don't know, there's like only 5 minutes left at this apex point, so it has to make a move very, very soon. Normally, crypto is not this patient, right? Statistically, we break out by the 30% level of an apex point. Okay, what's next here, guys? Kyle, where can I learn all of this technicals? And do you have a Valentine's sale? Oh, that's a cool idea. Yeah, we can do a Valentine's sale. We do have a gift system too. But I can let's do a Valentine's sale on Friday. I'll have one all set up for you guys then by there. But we do have an all-time high code, ATH. You should get 50% off the first month. Litecoin, please. Yeah, we can add Litecoin to the red list. So we went through basic attention token. We went through Ethereum, HBAR, Bitcoin. Let's go through BNB next. BNB is kind of important for me to watch right now. It's the pairing liquidity to Karma. We haven't looked at BNB since December 15th. That's crazy. It did really well, but it looks like it's starting to undo some of its gains. It's one of the best performing network tokens in the space right now. Even with all the FUD going on with CZ and all that stuff. All right, we can delete some of these some of this noise. These are all key levels that we watched in the past. We did lose buyers momentum here. So the pace of the buyers since August 2024. It's about 550 days roughly. We have new zones that we can watch. This was our supply zone that we were watching back in January. We came up, hit our head off it, built like this descending head and shoulders. Got that bearish change of character during this moment. and then we fell down. We can delete this now. Move it actually right here. You can see clear as day a daily order block. I don't have the indicator on this chart, but it's now when we return there, we'll be prepared around $890. Adapt our poll. So when we get back up there, we can prepare. We can delete this. We can delete this. Just getting rid of the noise here, guys. Sorry. This here told a big story for us. When we were at this buyer's momentum and this previous value area high that we used as support to help run us up to these new all-time highs. We're kind of fighting that battle, and once we got acceptance into that valley area, then we know we get that rotation down to at least the valley area low, and we start cascading into previous valley areas from there. We can delete this though. This is opposing data. Let me get this out. Delete this too. So we swept this low right here. Got a good SFP off that. Crazy reaction. Just fall alongside Bitcoin. I gotta undo that delete. So just gotta mark some of this data up here for me. 95 days. So it's our 95-day previous value area high. It's our 95-day previous point of control. Our 95-day previous value area low. It helps me visualize the separation between value areas when you have them all like labeled like this and they're all the same. Yeah, so understand the age of each. It helps you understand the strength of each. Now when we zoom in to lower time frames here, it kind of tells us, yeah, it kind of tells us a similar story to Bitcoin, but I like this posture a little bit better. We have our wick level low here that we could still come down to sweep and take before going back up. Similar to Bitcoin, has the same kind of threat. We have supply right here with the confluence of a previous point of control. Right here. We can pull a fixed range volume profile for our active data from here to here. We're at our value area low. We have our downtrending momentum, the pace of the sellers. It's really broad momentum. So when you're trading like the Clairvoyant strategy, for example, you'd want the squeeze event. You want this to get as close as you could to this apex of the valley area low and this downtrending momentum as you can, so you can get that R&R to the valley area high. And it's kind of positioning itself for a potential move up, but this is where I would prepare for us to hit our head. Kind of a satanic level, 666. So watch out. Got this wick level can be marked. So 668, 57, and we can mark this wick level and prepare for potential SFPs. This all starts at 664.58, where we might hit our head off this previous valley area low here. This valley area low comes from this range that we were looking at on the daily. We zoom out a little further. It's this range here, right? Used it as resistance here. Couldn't get past that point of control. When you get a failure to get acceptance into a valley area, you expect for us to rotate back down. And when you have, this was kind of a crunch between valley areas. I remember this pretty vividly. But yeah, whenever you see this kind of crunches, depending on how long you're there, you could pull your own valley area from this. But the valley area data that you get from these two ranges will be really helpful too, and help gauge when we're likely to get that continuation. And like I say all the time, proper acceptance comes from a break of structure, right? If you get that pullback higher high, then you're likely to get that rotation to the value area high. And in this case, we broke past it and then used it as support. All right, so this value area is, how old is this bad boy? It's about, that's 60 days. So you just mark that up, 60 plus day, previous value area high, control, start value area low. No mark at all up here. There we go, done. All right, so that's what I'm preparing for with BNB. The hopeful confluence of Bitcoin's pairing move. When Bitcoin does dictate a lot of BNB's moves, because when BNB was created, they used a lot of WBTC as pairing liquidity. So as the wrap version of Bitcoin goes up and down in value, so does the valuation of BNB's liquidity. So just be aware of that. So Bitcoin is kind of a bit of a boss of BNB when it comes to the lower, like the local structure. So when Bitcoin goes up, BNB tends to go up with it. And sometimes it'll have relative strength moves based on news or narrative. But yeah, right now it's fighting against these previous lows. Could help induce a pullback. If we take this low, then break this high, we'll have a change of character to help lead us up to the value area high. If we instead break below the value area and use it as resistance, and we breach past this previous point of control, we'll be targeting the value area low of this value area range that we're kind of dancing within right now. So we're at that value area high where people prepare for shorts in a more macro sense. So if this happens here, it'll make a lot of sense to see that continuation to this wick level low again at $570, where I would be preparing for longs right here. So high confluence shorts, high confluence long, and if we get the structure that we need, high confluence long. That's BNB. Going back to Bitcoin. Oh, look, we're going up to break that VWAP now, finally. Let's see if we get it. This is the unclaimed high that we want broken in order for us to get this move, and then for us to prepare for the posture for shorts again up here. It's a third fight against this VWAP today. Okay, let's say the code, and I can wait for the Valentine's. I want to work with directly because of scammers. I got you. There's a lot of scammers in the DMs, guys, so just be careful. A lot of people trying to impersonate me, especially with the giveaway system. We changed how we give away the prizes on Fridays because of those scammers constantly in your DMs. So I'll reply to your messages, but I'll never, ever, ever message you first. And when I say I reply to your messages, it will be slow replies because I get a lot of them. Do I use Bybit for Bitcoin and Binance for other alts? I'd recommend Bybit. It's probably the best exchange in the entire space, but I can't trade on Bybit because I'm Canadian. I do trade on Blowfin. I trade on, it depends on what I'm doing, but yeah, I mostly trade on Blowfin and Bitnex. I just started actually trading on Bitnex recently. I like their calculator, and it's kind of very easy to be consistent with your risk, like Blowfin and Bitnex in that sense. And their team's really easy to talk to. And the better the communication, the more I can help the community with other things. Oh, you mean for my charting? For my charting, I mostly use Bybit. If I'm doing macro analysis, I'll use Bitstamp. Now, Binance tends to have like the most assets on their chart, so you can, yeah, so you can do a lot of analysis on other things, but your confirmation should always be on your local exchange. So if you see a change of character on the Binance chart, make sure you see that same change of character on the chart that the exchange you're actually trading on, right? Paint your pictures, paint your trade plan, all that stuff on any chart you like, but you take action on your exchange chart. Can help talk about the limit orders. Yeah, I'll try catching up to DMs right after this live. I got one call right after this live, and then I'll catch up on the DMs there. How do you get that volume analysis, Kyle? The fixed range volume profile is you have to be on the essentials plan or higher for this thing, I believe. It's been a while, but I believe, yeah, the FRVP is something you find in the same location where you'd find your long and your short position tool on your nav bar on the left. Mine's a little bit customized. You have to make sure you have a proper row size, 200. Your value area volume set to 70. I have tested a whole bunch of different value area volumes to see if I can increase my win rate with this, but 70 is the best. Yeah, 200. Yeah, you screenshot this if you like. And then the style. This is all kind of up to you and your preference. But I have in mind kind of match psychology. So red equals short. Red equals sell. Green equals buy. POC, the point of control. It's where most of the interest is. So it's kind of like it could be yellow, like if you're thinking about cautionary areas, because it is an area of caution. You have to be careful. Where most of the volume is, so it tends to have the most weighted impact in terms of support and resistance. When you enter in a trade, you want to make sure the POC is on your back, right? So if you're going in long here, this is the POC right here. You want to be in a scenario where the POC is not like way up here, because then you'd have to worry about that being a problem. The positive part about it being up there is that it acts like a magnet for the price action, right? So if you're thinking about biases because of where the POC's placement is, you'd be more successful focusing on shorts in this value area because it acts like a big fat magnet for the price action. Just short, you watch the POC, hopes that it breaks, and then you target the value area low after that. And the pros and cons to it being in your face is that you can use it as confluence for when we get that break of structure. We know that the point of control is going to act like a barrier for your capital. So think of it like an additional stop loss guardian for your funds. Same with this VWAP when we break past it. A VWAP is a lot like a fair value or fixed range volume profile because think of it like it's the fair value of that daily candle. And it creates a reset after each candle closes. After each daily candle closes. Some of the resets are hard to see, but it's just as simple as knowing when the day starts or the daily candle starts. This is a clear reset right here. And we have our reset right here. And the VWAP gets stronger and stronger as the day passes. That's the risk reward ratio on this. One to 1.44 to the unclaimed high over here, or the strong high up there. Extreme high 2.25. So you might be forced out with the small gain, but fixed range volume profile is free. The visible range volume profile on the right side is paid. Really? That's weird to me. You'd think it could be the opposite, because like one has more, I guess one's more skill based than the other, right? The visual range volume profile that Koma's talking about there is this guy. I used to use it all the time, but it's better for macro. So if you zoom out on indicators and you type in VRVP, visual range volume profile, you get this, right? Think of it like it's the exact same tool as the fixed range volume profile, except it's based on every single candle that you're seeing on your screen, right? So if you adapt and change the settings for it to be more proper, you want the row size go from 24 to 200 to 250, right? Think of the row size as the number of candles, right? That's exactly what's happening. You're changing the number of candles so you can refine the appearance, so it makes it a lot easier for you to see the volume shelves. So when I go to switch it to 200, you get a lot more of this data. There's the style here for up volume represents buy volume, and then down volume represents sell volume. The type of volume doesn't technically matter in a massive majority of strategies, right? You can change the opacity if you want to make it so it's not so bright. But yeah, this basically shows you the same kind of data as this, except it's based on every candle that's on your screen. So if I were to zoom out, it's going to adapt. You got to give it a second. Sometimes it takes a little while for it to give you all the data, but it'll show you all the strongest point of interest that you have, like based on every candle on your screen, where the valleys are, right? Where price action is likely going to move quickly, where it's likely going to move slowly, but quickly through here. The fixed range volume profile allows you to really narrow it down to a more accurate point. Quick question about the VWAP. In BitNext, select the time frame and then zoom out. VWAP moves. I guess it's due to the data. Just wondering if it's not supposed to move when you zoom out or zoom in. It's supposed to be fixed based on no matter what time frame you look at. The only time frame where the VWAP doesn't matter is the daily or higher, because it's if you're seeing something that's changing based on your time frame, it's not a VWAP. And it's something, either it's an inaccurate version of it, or you're looking at an EMA. And an exponential moving average will change based on the time frame you look at it, unless you change that in your settings. Most exchanges will have a default 9 EMA on your chart that will evolve and change based on the time frame you look at it. It's not supposed to change. So if I look at the VWAP here, it anchors to the volume of the daily data. So if I were to go to like the 1 minute time frame, I have my price feed show the value of the VWAP. So right here, it's the yellow number, $69,632.50. If I go to the 45 minute, same thing, right? Should change when it only should change when the new candles close, right? The level should be relatively parallel with everything. So it'll anchor up a little bit based on the time frame, but it should be relatively the same. So right now everything's anchoring up because the price action is going up. But it doesn't confirm until the candle closes. So once the candle closes, then his anchor will adjust. Yeah, I gotta get that candle closed here, guys. We're really close to getting that break of structure. get above the VWAP, we get above the, there we go. 40 seconds left on the 5 minute. So if this closes, then we're going to confirm a likely move up to the value area high. We have VWAP on our back, orb on our back, and structure on our side. And the supply has basically been fully mitigated. You can watch this wick level high if you want to be super cautious. Jeepers. Okay, basic attention token sweeping the high. B&B isn't pulling back. It's gonna go after, it's gonna test that momentum. It's got like this lower time frame internal supply here. Kind of get that bear flag vibe. So we hit our head here. I'm going to prepare for it to come back down. H-bar. Starting to come up towards our area of confluence for shorts. Ethereum. It's at the value area high now. We got our 30-minute order block. We're close to mitigating. All we got to do is tap it. And prepare for that reversal. There we go. Got our break structure. It's leading up now. Our first little boss to fight is coming up next. We got to get past this 15-minute order block. It could induce a pullback to retest this high. Yeah. That's like my change of character or break a structure alarm. So I get notified when something important happens, and looks like I made the right call getting out of my short. All right, we're going into this order block now. Tapped into it. Aggressive move up. You want those aggressive moves up when you're preparing for shorts. It creates clearance in the order books. It makes it a lot easier for us to retrace. That's where those volume gaps are going to occur, right? These occur because of recent price action behaving that way, right? Price action will move quickly in between the zone. So now we're getting to like a little area of interest. And that's where the confluence of that order block is. So we're going to hit our head here and pull back. Can likely maintain the pace of this buyer's momentum from the pullback. We retest those highs, come up. And the more you understand opposing confluences and how it can impact structure, the less likely you're going to get out of a trade emotionally, and you can just, let it do its thing. Let it pull back if it needs to pull back. Every time there's a pullback, your mindset shouldn't be run out of your trade. It should be, oh, cool, I can move my stop loss sooner, right? So if you get that 2 candle pullback and higher high for a break of structure, it means you can move your stop loss quicker from like here, right? From the change of character, then here from the break of structure, then potentially here from the break of structure, protecting your capital more and more, and eventually putting your stop loss in the profit zone until you reach your target, or if you see an opposing bearish change of character telling you to get out, and then you accept those gains. All right, that's pretty aggressive reaction. You could get an SFP off this level. I do gotta head out soon there, guys. I got a call in about 11 minutes. All right, we got like a legacy SFP off this. I swept that high. That will likely induce a pullback to test the orb and these previous highs. A 2 candle pullback and then a higher high, and you're set. But if we get acceptance back inside the orb and lose the VWAP, I'd say get out if you're in an existing position. This was honestly like the best long, other than the SFP maybe here. The long was from when we had that change of character and started coming back down. You could start pulling a fib from that low to this high, and it gave us this golden pocket level. Enter off that, stop loss here. So this is this is the moment that you really want to have occur. If we lose this and lose momentum, get back inside the orb, I would say get out, take your gains. I know there's some people in the community that are in that setup, so that's what I watch out for. But I'm still waiting on that short up here. This is mitigated, so we can delete this now. Yeah, I'll leave it on just in case someone's learning from it. Delete the sweep level. You're closing another 50%? Call Gandalf, please. Okay. 1 second, I'll get Gandalf. Let's protect Coma's position here. There you go, man. Now you're protected. Bitcoin can't stop you out now. We have in the chat. We got Litecoin request from Ref. Let's look at Litecoin really quick before I have to go. We'll see if Bitcoins get close to our area for a short. Litecoin. Last time I looked at it was January 16th. It lost a really important level. Like a stupid important level. Insanely important level. I cannot express it enough. So this level here is what I'm kind of screaming about. 2,600 day legacy support. When Polygon lost its legacy support, it got so destroyed that they basically rebranded so they can cover it up. That's my theory. Like, it was just so important. The main thing that gives me hope with Litecoin is this Valley area data. It's been in this Valley area range for 1,446 days. We just recently swept this low, got that SFP. It's at a value low where we can prepare for a move up, right? But yeah, these are like, there's legacy support levels that you just never want broken, and this is one of those ones. But we're in a big valley area, so it makes me feel a little more optimistic that we could get that return back up. But this was like a doom and gloom scenario here. Like zooming in on this in lower time frames, we were watchful for this. Like we wanted to have this move up. This was the key level that we're preparing for along. But this is the level we were watching for the rejection that we did not want to have, right? We did not want this rejection to occur. So we had that confluence at the point of control from that valley area. And we had the confluence of the structure defining a reversal in lower time frames. I can go through that. I'm going to zoom in right here. This gave us a bullish flip. Not a bullish change of character, but a bullish flip. And we get that break, and we hit our head. And we had another bearish flip here. Flip is like a incomplete change of character. So it's, think of it like a descending double top, or descending or ascending double bottom, right? Fibonacci has a good role in this. Normally you can have a fib pull from this high to this low and define this as like a golden pocket zone, like this. Same thing with ascending, right? Double bottoms. Your golden pocket kind of zone you'd usually normally watch out for. So it has its time and its place. But I'd still prefer changes of character over flips. They're just way more reliable. And more guarded. They're more likely to be guarded. So delete this information now. We don't need it anymore. But man, when that occurred, when we got that lower low and lost that point of control and confluence with that, it was definitely a doom and gloom scenario that helped support this macro continuation down. So now we're at like $54.55. All right, so pretty bizarre. Delete this too. These are all previous longs and shorts. But I was preparing to buy a spot here big time. And then we lost that level. I was like, oh, fuck. So we have seller's momentum right here that we can watch. We're kind of testing it right now as we speak. We have a lot of order blocks on this time frame. I'm looking at the 90, but we have the hourly counter situations here. This is a good key level to watch right here. The hourly order block. We have a previous momentum, our supply. So the order block is kind of like the part of the floor of that supply. Send it back. You watch this level. Previous valley area. Order block. So we fail against this, then we prepare for a move down. It's got this like potential like head and shoulders kind of vibes, right? We got that pull back here. We didn't get the higher high, so it's more of a technical like triple top. If we break this low, then we can come down here and prepare for a potential reversal from here. Our equilibrium points here as well, from the pull from this low to this high. We get a regular fib. There's our 0.5 level. Prepare for a bounce here. If we have the structural confluence, maybe we'll get that break of momentum, and then we start targeting this as our resistance, our supply. If we end up getting our head hit here and we come down with a bearish change of character, then we can prepare for this to induce a range, right? And this could be the range low. This could be the range ceiling, right? I'm going to ping pong here for a bit. And if we fight against this value area low for a long period of time and induce a lot of buy side liquidity up here, that'd be really healthy for Litecoin for a return, strong return back up, right? But historically right now, based on the value area data, this is the best time to prepare to buy or accumulate via spot. It's not the best time for a futures long just yet, but it is for spot buy. Historically, for the past 1,000, almost 500 days, it's the best time to buy and return and prepare for a return to the value area high. And the value area high target is 73%. There's supply zones along the way, of course, you have to watch out for if you see any opposing confluences, so you can prepare for like sell events. If we get a sell event here, a rejection here, it would give us good confluence to retest the value area low. So this wouldn't be enough to scare me out, but it'd be enough to like potentially sell spot and then rebuy with the exact same amount of funds to accumulate for free, and it'll lower your average by doing so. So let's say, for example, you bought today at $54 or $55, and then you sold your position, or half of your position, or a quarter of your position here, and then you, with that, the exact same amount of funds that you sold with, you rebought at the value area low and retest it. You just got free Litecoin, and that's one of the healthiest ways to accumulate. If you have a good understanding of the flow of the asset, you could just put your stop loss for a rebuy when in an invalidation point, like a strong high. If you get a bearish change of character, sell, rebuy. But if you're wrong, it'll rebuy here, and then you've given up based on that percentage move. Certain amount of funds. I could do a video on that for you guys if you want to learn how to accumulate an asset. And every single time you do that accumulation strategy, you're lowering your average more and more and more the more trades you do that are obviously that are correct, the ones that you're winning on. And every time you lose a trade, your average is technically put in a worse position. So it's something you want to do when you have proven to yourself through back testing and then through forward testing with paper trading that you're ready for something like that. All right, so this is where you prepare for. Currently, right now, it's just about looking at the local supply and the current local conditions and just preparing for short-term moves. But macro-wise, if you're looking at your macro, and macro-wise, this is the time to accumulate for a long-term move back up. And that Gandalf is strong today. You're saying I'm cooked? Oh, it depends on what you're doing. Hopefully you're on the right side of things, man. I understand like a lot of people are in the red. And I know based on on-chain data that more than 50% of people who are watching right now are holding at a loss, if they're holding anything. Right? The on-chain data is showing everything. And yeah. But historically it's the best time to ever buy an asset in the crypto space. Just make sure you pick the right ones. Like there's some assets that die in these kinds of scenarios that don't recover. They turn into zombie tokens based on their liquidity. So just be careful. Make sure you pick the right ones. Follow the regulation, guys. And know the gains from the assets that are on the side of regulations are usually a lot smaller, right? Percentage-wise, but they are more of a guarantee. You're not buying a scratch ticket. You're buying an asset, right? A lot of these altcoins are scratch tickets. All right, guys, I gotta go. I gotta call. Trade safe. Just a quick recap. If you're not already in an existing long, you're preparing for a short. I'm waiting for a better posture, hopefully at the value area high. I don't like this 15-minute orb block shouldn't be strong enough to drive the price down, but you got to be prepared for that kind of scenario. Worst case scenario, if price action gets back inside this orb, then Gandalf have lost the battle, and then we could see it come back down to the value area low. In the macro setting, we are dancing on top of a 250-day value area high. So we're statistically preparing for a longer term drop, and I'm trying to front run a break of these key levels by preparing for a jump up here, short up here. Right, so I'm still short bias right now, but this is the area where, in terms of long-term holds, you prepare for like a spot accumulation. So right here, at this value area high, around 70,900, I'll be looking for a bearish change of character, acceptance into our local value area, and targeting the value area low, in hopes that we break the value area low for a break structure continuation posture and bring us back down to maybe around 67,000, maybe even beyond. All right, guys, and that would paint the picture of like a large head and shoulders if that came through, right? Or a triple top. They're one of the most reliable structures in the space. And you can backtest that for proof. All right, guys, you have yourself an amazing day. Thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing. We are growing pretty fast. Like over the weekend, there was like 200 hours of watch time. So you guys are like watching a lot of my videos. I really appreciate it. Starting to put us on the map a bit. If you guys have any questions, you can reach out to me in the Discord. My goal is to try to catch up on DMs, replies. I will not message you first, but I'll reply to you as soon as I can. But yeah, when we had this crash, I really like lost track of my messages. There's like, I don't know, like 50 to 100 messages still left over to catch up on. And yeah, so I understand the feelings people are going through right now. But yeah, it's almost at the bottom here, guys. But we could be consolidating here for a long time if we confirm this move down. All right, guys, you have yourself an amazing day. And thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next one tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. See you guys.